Good morning, class 8. Today we are going to start new chapter, that is sound. So all of you know the meaning of sound and what is sound, that also you know. But again in this chapter we are going to study about the sound, how sound is produced, how sound is moving from one place to another. All these things we are going to study. So we'll start. How do you come to know that a period is over in your school? You come to know easily that someone is at your door when he knocks, or you hear the sound of the doorbell. So you know that when your period is over by the ringing of bell. Also somebody is standing near your door and knocking. By that sound you come to know that somebody is standing near the door. So most of the time you can make out that someone is approaching you by just hearing the footstep. So by hearing the footstep, somebody is approaching you, means somebody is listening you or somebody is trying to finding you. So you might have played a game called hide and seek. In this game, a person is blind, folded, and has to catch the remaining player. How is blindfolded person able to guess which player is closer to her? So this game also hide and seek. Some players are hiding and one is seek, means one is finding the others. Then how he tried to find out? He tried to find out by the sound of your footsteps or sound of your actions. So sound plays an important role in our lives. It helps us to communicate with one another. We hear a variety of sound in our surroundings. So many varieties of sound are there we hear in our surrounding, like the sound of birds, like the sound of objects, sound of aeroplane, helicopter, many are there. So make a list of sounds you hear in your surrounding. In the music room of your school, you hear the sound produced by a musical instrument like flute, tabla, harmonium. So these are the instruments kept in the music room. So they produce sound. Then how is sound produced by them? How does it travel from one place to another? How do we hear sound? Why are some sounds louder than others? So all these things we are going to discuss in this chapter. So all these questions will solve in this chapter. So what are the questions? That how the sound is produced first, then how the sound is louder than the other, then again many are there. So such types of question we are trying to solve in this chapter. So first we'll see sound is produced by a vibrating body. So vibrating body. So all of you know the meaning of vibration. Your mobile vibrates, then many objects of vibrate. So how they see. Touch the school bell when not in use. What do you feel? You feel that it is steady and it is not moving. Again touch it when producing sound. Can you feel it vibrating? Yes, you will feel vibrating after touching when it is producing a sound. So here one activity is given to you. So you will do that activity at home and try to understand how this object vibrate and produce sound. So here see, as you learnt in class 6, 7th, to and fro or back and forth motion of an object is called vibration. So what is meant by vibration? Here it is given, and that you studied in class 7, that to and fro or back and forth motion of an object is called vibration. When a tightly stretched band is plucked, it vibrates and produces sound. So here it is given the activity. So all the activities in these chapters you will do and try at home and try to understand what is the sound. So plucking the rubber band. So two pencils are there, rubber band is stretched, and when the rubber band is plucked, it will produce sound or it will vibrate. When a tightly stretched band is plucked, it vibrates and produces sound. When it stops vibrating, it does not produce any kind of sound. So here it is given that vibration. By vibration, the sound is produced from the object. Like rubber, we stretch the rubber, plucked it, and the sound is produced by the vibrating of the rubber. So next is, we see that a vibrating object produces sound. In some cases, the vibration are easily visible to us, but in most cases, their amplitude is so small that we cannot see them. However, we can feel them. So some objects are there, they produce sound by vibrating and we can see them vibrating. But some are there, we can't see them vibrating but they produce sound. Why we cannot see them vibrating? Because their amplitude is so small that we cannot see them. Then next is, make a list of familiar musical instruments to identify their vibrating parts. A few examples are given in table. Complete rest of the table. So one table is given that producing sound, musical instruments and their vibrating parts. The table is given and the remaining table you have to fill it. Two examples are given, that veena, when stretched string, tabla, stretched membrane. So in this way you have to add another instruments musical and write their vibrating parts producing sound. Make of many of you might have seen the manjira. The manjira figure is given. You can see the figure of manjira also. Here the manjira is given to you. Then all of you have seen this manjira. The ghatam is also given. So this is known as ghatam. This is manjira. And the nutes, mud pot and the kurtal. These musical instruments are commonly used in many parts of our country. These instruments are simply beaten or struck. So can you name a few other musical instruments of this type? You too can make a musical instrument. So these are some instruments. They produce sound. How they produce sound? They are made up of some are made up of mud and other object, and they produce sound. How they produce sound? When we beat on them or we struck on the instrument, they produce sound. So in this way we studied about something about the sound, and some activities are given to you and that you have to do at home. Try to do it and try to understand the theme of the activities, how they produce sound. So we'll stop.